Yes, I know that this isn't college where crazy upsets and Cinderella runs happen frequently on a yearly basis, but I do believe that there will be a couple teams out there that are underdogs but can make some serious noise come playoff time. But we have seen throughout NBA history that teams that had no business advancing in the playoffs did just that. This year, given the unfamiliar circumstances, with all these teams going to be in the bubble, I feel as if things can potentially get crazier this year, definitely more than any other year. So today, I will give you 3 teams that could potentially make a surprise run come this postseason. But before we start, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Follow our Instagram at just.the.facts. Follow our Twitter at justthefacts1. It's in at 43 subscribers right now, so if you could help me get to 50 as soon as possible, that would be much appreciated. If you're new and you're watching this and you enjoyed this video, why not hit the subscribe button? And if you're a returning subscriber, please share the content for more bangers like this. But without further ado, let's get into it. The Dallas Mavericks. Whoa, before you click off the video there or comment me in the comments, hear me out. The Mavs led by Luka and KP are currently 7th in the West right now, as Luka's been giving us an MVP type season, averaging 28 points, 9 rebounds and 9 assists in just his second season. Porzingis has had a nice bounce back year after missing the 18-19 season due to an ACL injury and a whole Knicks fiasco. But what else is new in New York? And the Mavs do have an underrated supporting cast as they rank first by far in total 3-pointers made this season. Tim Hardaway Jr. is averaging 15 points per game on 41% shooting from 3. Seth Curry shooting 45% from 3. DeLon Wright shooting 39% from 3, and JJ Barea shooting 38% from 3. As of right now, the Mavs will be playing the Clippers in the first round of the playoffs this year, so you might ask, how exactly are the Dallas Mavericks going to make a deep surprising run? Well, I'll just go ahead and say this. It is possible that the Nuggets can still get the 2 seed, only being a game and a half back. And obviously the Clippers have title aspirations this season, but I can easily see the Clippers not going as hard in these remaining 8 games, as I probably know they wouldn't want to take any chances with Kawhi, and PG is starting to finally recover, and we still got to see how the whole Lou Will situation plays out. If the Mavs were to play the Denver Nuggets in the first round, I can easily see that being a 7-game series. Now, I will say, Luka has the potential to be the best player in that series, and if your team can have the best player in a series, you have a chance of winning. And it will be interesting to see Luka and KP playing their first ever playoffs together. Luckily, the Mavericks do have Rick Carlisle, who has been there, done that, won championships, and has had plenty of great teams in the playoffs. Is it possible that KP can outplay Jokic in the series? I think it's possible. And obviously in the bubble, no team would have a home court advantage. And I think the Nuggets are affected the most with no home court advantage, along with the Jazz and the Sixers. Now if they beat Denver, they will still have to end up playing the Clippers. And I'll say this, the Mavs have a chance if and only if Paul George doesn't really show up in the playoffs, which is very possible. So that leaves the door open for Luka and even KP to be the second and third best players in the series. And if your team can have the second and third best players in the playoff series, along with a very experienced and successful head coach, and if Luka can go toe-to-toe with Kawhi with no home court disadvantage, the chances that things go crazy get a little higher. The Miami Heat. Miami has been one of the most surprising teams, if not the most surprising team in the NBA this season. They came in with the 14th best odds to win a title this year, and now they sit as the 8th best record in the NBA. With all-star free agent Jimmy Butler signing with the Heat, the consensus was that was the wrong decision. Now all of a sudden, they're one of the most loved teams in the NBA. Obviously, Jimmy Butler's the leader there, but there have been many surprises. Kendrick Nunn, who's turned out to be one of the best rookies this year, who's averaging 16 points and 3 assists. Duncan Robinson, who's an absolute sniper from 3-point range, averaging 13 points per game and almost 4 threes made per game. Tyler Hero is a fearless rookie with great confidence who's averaging 13 points a game. And probably the most improved player in the entire league this season, Bam Adebayo, who went from averaging 9 points a game, 7 rebounds a game, 2 assists a game, to 16 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. And it's one of the better defensive players in the league. The Miami Heat are the 4th seed in the East right now, so that means they would be playing the Bucks in the second round. The only potential problem for the Heat in the first round, I think, is if the Sixers end up getting that 5th seed and then they're firing on all cylinders come postseason. Then the Heat pretty much don't have a chance, but if they do end up playing the Pacers in the playoffs, I think the Heat will easily win that series due to the fact that Domantas Sabonis won't be out there for Indiana. And who knows how good Oladipo will be when he returns. But if the Heat were to play the Bucks in the second round, I think they would match up pretty nice against them. As we saw on March 3rd, the Heat beat the Bucks and held Giannis to 13 points, 6 of 18 shooting, and a negative 16 plus minus. And they also held Middleton to 12 points, 4 of 16 shooting, and a negative 14 plus minus. Bam is a very, very versatile defender, and you can put him on Giannis most of the time. His lateral quickness is quick enough to keep up with Giannis's long strides, and he's strong enough to defend Giannis in the post. Not to mention there's still Jimmy Butler, Andre Iguodala, Jay Crowder, and even Derrick Jones Jr. sometimes who can guard Giannis and sort of build a wall, kind of like what the Raptors did in the conference finals last year. Also, Erik Spoelstra is one of the best coaches in the league too, so I'm sure he'll come up with a great game plan versus Giannis. So the Miami Heat do have the blueprint to stop Giannis, and if Giannis struggles like he did against the Raptors in the conference finals and against the Heat earlier this season, I think the Bucks are done. So obviously the Heat could lose to the Sixers if the Sixers end up firing on all cylinders like I said. But like I said in the Sixers video, I wouldn't be surprised if they lost in the first round or made the NBA Finals. As for the Heat beating the Raptors or Celtics, I mean, there's a possibility, but I wouldn't go as far as to say they'd beat those teams. I think the Heat are more suited to guard a team like the Bucks rather than the Raptors or Celtics, who have multiple guys that can beat you. The Miami Heat have had a great culture for a long time, and that could very well be the difference in them making a postseason run. The Oklahoma City Thunder. After what we thought was the end of the franchise moment with Dame waving goodbye at OKC after dropping 50 and eliminating the Thunder, OKC has bounced back hard. After Russell traded to Houston and PG was traded to the Clippers, we all thought a rebuild was coming, but CP3 came in and said, no, that's not going to happen. CP3, Shea, Schroeder, and Gallo, who I've met before as you can see right here, they have a great team ball system offensively, as any four of those guys could score 20 on any given night, and that's what makes them so hard to defend. They also rank top 10 in defense in the NBA, and they're also one of the more toughest teams in the league. So any team that plays OKC will obviously have their hands full. Right now they sit as the 5th seed in the West, and they would play the Jazz right now, and I'm not a huge fan of the Jazz doing anything in the playoffs this year. And due to the Jazz not having Bogdanovic, who's averaging 20 points for them this year, Mitchell and Gobert possibly have underlying chemistry issues. Like I said, the lack of home court for the Jazz will hurt them, and if they beat the Jazz, they'd be playing the Lakers in the second round, and I believe they'd have no chance against the Lakers. So it would be ideal for the Thunder to drop to the 6th seed. If OKC were to drop to 6th seed and play Denver, now I can see OKC winning that series. I would imagine that Chris Paul put Jokic in pick and rolls all day long, and with that being said, CP3 can be the best player in that series. I believe those games will be very, very close, and OKC's 4-0 in overtime games this year, and have won 61% of their games that are within 10 points. And CP3 and the Thunder go absolutely ballistic in the fourth quarter, as well as OKC being the comeback kings of the NBA. So that would mean the Thunder will play the Clippers in the second round, and I do still see the Thunder having a chance in that series. I think Chris Paul can end up being the second best player in that series. And if you could have a guy like Gallo that can match Paul George on the offensive end, I think your chances go up there. I think CP would also be abusing Zubac in pick and rolls, as well as Montrezl Harrell, as well as putting Patrick Beverley in foul trouble, because we know Patrick Beverley likes to foul a lot, and we know Chris Paul is one of the smartest players in the NBA. Not to mention OKC had one of the best road records in the league this season, so them being away from Chesapeake Arena won't really affect them too much. And come on, let's just face it, CP3 hasn't had the best playoff resume for his career, but he has had a lot of bad luck throughout the years with injuries, very, very poorly timed injuries. So let's just hope CP3 and his teammates can stay healthy so we can see his team have a legit shot. And with the Thunder having the second best leader in the NBA, CP3, no matter how much of an underdog they are, they will still have a chance. Now that's the end of the video, y'all. Let me know if there's a dark horse team that you think could potentially make a deep run. I'm not saying go to the NBA Finals or anything like that, but at least maybe shake things up for 2 rounds or so. And guys, I know this isn't likely to happen, but I just wanted to have some fun with this just to see which potential teams could be making some noise. With that being said, let me know what y'all think. Make sure to follow our Instagram at just.the.facts, and I'm out. Peace.